Looking back, 2015 was a pretty good year for video games, both mainstream AAA titles and indie games as well. So I think in this video what I'm going to do is list my 5 favourite games of 2015. Please bear in mind though, I haven't played every game that was released in 2015, so you might see a few notable games missing. Anyway, let's get started. Hotline Miami 2 just about squeezed into my top 5 list, bringing back the intense action, violence, and the soundtrack that made the first game so memorable. This was a game I was really looking forward to, and usually when that happens, I get a little bit let down. But honestly, this game didn't really disappoint. Taking place in more varied locations and time periods than before, Hotline Miami 2 gave me the same adrenaline rushes and managed to up the challenge that I enjoyed so much about Hotline Miami 1. And on top of that, introduced a few new characters and game mechanics that were a lot of fun to play with. In my opinion, Hotline Miami 2 does suffer with a few little issues that means it's not quite as replayable as the first game, and in some cases I didn't always appreciate the limited capabilities that certain characters had. But I can't deny that playing through this was an exhilarating experience, and that's why it's on my list. This one came as a real surprise. Coming in at number 4 is actually not a standalone game at all, but a mod. And what a mod it is. This full conversion continues the Penumbra series and the story of Philip as he goes even deeper into the darker, more unknown parts of the shelter. All the while learning about the people that used to work there and the horrifying discoveries they made. To be perfectly honest, I went in expecting a forgettable experience, but soon realised that this unofficial game rivals the main entries in the Penumbra series. If somebody had said this was made by Frictional Games themselves, I'd believe them, as there's very little difference in quality. There's new locations to explore and new monsters to evade, and a fantastic conclusion that I didn't expect to get. And if you know me, you'll probably know that I have a soft spot for the Penumbra series, so that's why it's number 4. Just Cause returns, and it's better than ever. Just Cause 3 once again puts you in control of the adrenaline junkie Rico Rodriguez, equipped with his trusty grappling hook and parachute, as well as a few other things. Most notably, the new wingsuit, which makes traversing the islands of Medici so much fun. Raining down destruction on corrupt leaders has never felt so good, as you control Rico as he blows up everything that's unfortunate enough to be painted red. Just Cause 3 provides me with pretty much anything I'd ever want in an open world game. As well as the story missions, there's loads of side missions and challenges, plenty of vehicles to play with, and a lot of hidden collectibles. I've played about 10 hours of this game and I feel that I've barely scratched the surface. Given an enormous open world to explore, this is currently my go-to game for mindless fun, that I don't think I'll tire of for a very long time. Being a fan of the developers Frictional Games, I always knew this was going to be good, but I couldn't comprehend just how good it would turn out to be. The game features loads of things that I love. I mean, to start with, it's a horror game. It's set at the bottom of the ocean. It has an amazingly engaging story. And you know what? It can be really, really scary.
Be quiet! Don't look at it!
The strange thing is, and this is something that caught me by surprise to be honest, the horror, as good as it was, kind of took a back seat to the story and the philosophical themes, which in other games might have bothered me, but in this case, it blew me away. Unfortunately, I can't really talk too much more about the story without spoiling things, which I don't want to do, but I will just say this: I doubt I'll ever forget it. If this was any other year, I think this would be in the top spot. I think this would be number 1. But unfortunately for Soma, another game came out in 2015 that I enjoyed even more.
You look like trouble.
Dead wrong. I make trouble go away. I'm a witcher.
A witcher?
Yes, my favourite game of 2015 is the utterly superb The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Honestly, I don't know what else I can say that hasn't already been said about this game, but you should know there is a reason it keeps winning the Game of the Year awards. Geralt and friends return in what has to be one of the best fantasy RPGs ever made. Essentially, it's bigger, it's better. You're given more free reign than you were in the previous two games. The storytelling is amazing. The combat has been improved. The characters, old and new, are very memorable, and occasionally it really feels like your decisions matter and affect the vast world around you. The game looks, sounds, and plays fantastically, and although there are a few little issues, the problems are so few and far between that it feels like you're playing a masterpiece. To me, it was one of those games you just simply don't want to end. And that's why it sits in its rightful place as number 1 in my top 5 games of 2015. And that, as they say, is that. They were my top 5 games of 2015, and this is actually the last video I'll release in 2015. So, thank you very much for watching this video and CjuGames, and I hope to see you back next year.